Chapter 27. Brooke.
I flew across the forest floor, thankful that I had come here enough that I knew the way to Charles's house even in my panic. There were horrible crashing sounds coming from inside the camper mixed with furious growls, letting me know that Peter was not the one in control. I knew the wolf wouldn't be able to use the handle to open the door, but it didn't sound like he was looking for a handle. He was going to break out if he had to tear that camper apart piece by piece. I hadn't gotten nearly as far away as I wanted to when I heard the glass of the window shattering. Those windows were so small, and he was enormous. Even though my feet kept carrying me forward, my heart wanted me to turn around and check on him. What if he cut himself badly and was laying outside the camper bleeding out? What if he needed me? His howl pierced through the air, laced with anger and pain. I couldn't even see the clearing for Charles's yard yet. I wanted to look for a tree to climb, but I couldn't slow down enough to gauge if there were any climbable trees around. I didn't even know how to climb a tree. This moment wasn't the best time for my debut. I heard his feet crashing over the ground behind me. Daring a glimpse backward, I saw his eyes. It was clear this wasn't Peter who was pursuing me. Those weren't Peter's eyes. These were the eyes of a predator. My peak cost me my balance, and I crashed on the forest floor. I screamed in pain as my left arm collided with the earth, breaking open Peter's stitches, and rolled over to see the wolf. He had stopped running and now stalked toward me, each step deliberate and deadly. "Peter," I begged. "Peter, it's me. It's Brooke." The wolf didn't act as if he heard me. His lips curled back to show his sharp teeth. I'd forgotten that Peter had those sharp teeth as a wolf. He must have tried to hide them from me. "I'm not going to hurt you, Peter. Please don't hurt me. You don't want to hurt me," I said. "Yes, Peter. You're Peter, and I'm Brooke. I love you, and you love me. You don't want to hurt me," I said. He whimpered for a second, closing his mouth. I could see in his eyes that Peter was coming out, and everything was going to be okay. The sudden noise startled him, causing him to look behind me. That familiar face was gone, and the wolf was back in control. Charles stood behind me, firing a gun. The wolf had been hit at least once and launched toward Charles for revenge. "No!" I yelled, fearing for the man's life. "Peter, stop!" At the sound of his name, the wolf slowed again and turned to look at me. It looked as if Peter was fighting to come out, but neither he nor the wolf could stand for a moment longer. The tranquilizer overtook them, and they crashed to the ground. "Are you okay, girl?" Charles asked, hobbling over to help me up. I tried to manage most of it on my own before he reached me. "Peter was still in there," I said. "He was trying to come back. You didn't have to shoot." "Are you okay?" he demanded, ignoring my cries about Peter. I nodded. "Yes, I'm fine. I tore my arm open again, but other than that, I'm okay." Charles looked to see the blood running down my arm. "I'm bringing you to the hospital this time. Don't fuss about it. I'll pay for it. Old people get discounts and crap. It's the only perk of aging." "What about Peter?" I asked. We both looked at his bloody fur as his stomach rose and fell with each breath. He looked in worse shape than I could have imagined. I had no idea how he managed to squeeze through that tiny window, but it definitely came with a price. "I don't know when he'll turn back," he admitted. "The tranq might knock him out for less than an hour. I've never had to shoot him before, so it might not be enough to keep down an animal of his size. Let's get out of here before he wakes up." "Aren't we going to help him?" I begged. "We have to do something. He's hurt, Charles." He shook his head. "Not until we know for sure if it's Peter or the wolf. That changes everything." "I told you Peter is in there," I argued. "He was remembering me right before I saved your life," he finished. "Now stop giving me lip and go get your sister. We're going to MSNC." "I can't leave him here, Charles. What if he wakes up wounded and alone?" I cried. "It wouldn't be the first time," he said softly. "And if he does, he'll know where to find you. Let's go." Midnight Springs Medical Center was not a sterile-looking place. It was old and dingy. The floors and walls looked like if you scrubbed them hard enough, they would be white underneath. The lights were yellow and dim in some areas, but bright and blue in others. I did not feel much safer than I did the day Peter sewed me up in Charles's living room. However, I was eternally grateful for the numbing shots they gave me before sewing me up. "You're lucky infection didn't set in," the doctor said, getting on to me for the 50th time for trying to take care of it at home. I did my best to keep it clean, bandaged, and to keep triple antibiotic ointment on it. I said to defend myself, and Peter. Well, I'm glad you at least took the aftercare seriously, he said. It was amazing that I could watch the needle go in and out and not feel it at all. Who did you say stitched it? A friend of mine, I stated. He looked up at me over his magnifying glasses. And I'm assuming you won't tell me their name? No, sir, I won't, I said, raising my eyebrow but speaking respectfully. Charles chuckled at my polite rejection. The doctor shook his head and kept sewing. Peter might have my heart, but I was going to the hospital the next time I needed stitches. Well, they did a good job, he said. It makes me worry about how much practice they've had, to tell you the truth. My eyebrows furrowed in worry as I glanced at Charles. He looked down in sadness. Millie sat in the chair beside him doing her homework, or doing random math problems for fun, who could tell. All right, you're all fixed up. A nurse will come in with your discharge papers. Please be more careful, and please, for the love of all things, come to the hospital the next time you need stitches, the doctor pleaded. Oh, I will, I assured him, but only because you numbed my arm first. That was definitely worth the price of admission. That's good to know, he said. We could use someone like you in our billing department when people call to complain about how pricey their stay was. She hasn't actually seen a real hospital bill before, Doc, Charles chimed in. Don't recruit her just yet. He chuckled and shook his head as he left the room. Millie, would you mind getting me a cup of coffee? Charles asked, pulling some money from his wallet. She hopped out of the room on her quest, leaving us alone. This is normal, isn't it? I asked, pointing to my arm. His eyes widened. No, girl, it's not normal. Not in the slightest. But it will be the usual if you decide to be with him. I mean the stitches. It's normal for him to stitch himself up, isn't it? That's why he's so good at it, I clarified. Yes, he said sadly. I'm afraid so. You've seen him hurt a lot? I whispered, though I didn't really want to know the answer. It was killing me that he was out there hurting now. He nodded. Yes, mostly because of the same thing as today. He turned inside the camper before he could get outside and had to break the window to get out. I grimaced. I didn't realize that wasn't the first time. The window is so small. Why does he keep replacing it? Shouldn't he make a better escape door? Maybe, but then his home wouldn't be as well insulated. He would risk turning even sooner from the cold, he explained. Every decision he makes has to be about long-term survival. Why won't he come stay with us? I asked, my voice cracking and tears filling my eyes. I couldn't believe that I had outright asked him, and he said no. Why won't he let me help him? Tears filled his eyes as well, and he wiped them away swiftly. I can't tell you how many times I heard Helen say those exact words, girl. We wanted nothing more than to help him. But you can't help someone that doesn't want it. You can't force help upon someone. You just have to offer it and hope for the best. It was a hard lesson that I couldn't accept easily. I wanted to help Peter because I loved him. I wanted to help my mom because I loved her. She chose drugs over me. He chose the woods and isolation over me. All of the pain I was feeling wasn't Peter's fault. He was aggravating a wound left by Emma Romero. If she hadn't abandoned me time and time again, it wouldn't have hurt as bad when Peter said he would rather risk turning than spend a night under the same roof as me. Helen and I didn't think we had a choice, he continued, bringing me out of my pity party. We cared for him and loved him because he was a child, and he needed us. He's a grown man now, Brooke. He is independent and can care for himself, man or wolf. He knows where to find his home, where to store clothes for when he wakes up, and how to bind his wounds. He knows how to make money, how to find food, and how to store it. He knows how to hunt and fish and keep warm. It's not the same situation that it was with Helen. You and I both have a choice now. What do you mean? I asked. I have a choice to do what? My blood pressure cuff inflated automatically, startling me. Based on the intensity of our conversation, I didn't expect to get a good reading. You don't have to be with him, he explained after the machine beeped. You don't have to have any sort of friendship or relationship with him at all. And if you don't want to, I won't either. You'd leave him behind? This boy who you claim is the closest you've ever had to his son? I asked. I couldn't believe it. My door has always been open to him, but he only chose to come through it because of you. He didn't need me. You did. He's a man now, an adult. I'm not leaving him behind. I'll take care of him in my own way from a distance, like I always have, by giving him a place to stay in that camper. You and Millie are the ones who need me now. You come first. if you want to distance yourself from him, I will too, to make it easier on you. What I don't want is for you to feel like he and I are a package deal. You and I are a package deal. And we get to make the choice on whether he will be in the forefront of our lives or not, he explained. I don't feel like I have a choice, I whispered. I feel like I'm already in too deep. You always have a choice. That's what love is. A choice. You can't choose who you have a spark with, or whatever you kids call it nowadays, but you can choose who you're going to act on that spark with. You can choose who you walk through life with. Lord knows I made the right choice with Helen. She was a gift from straight above. But I watched my friends make terrible choices and end up being miserably married or miserably divorced. I squeezed my eyes to trap the tears in. I don't want to be with someone that might hurt me when he gets angry about something. Before today, I was never afraid of Peter. I don't want to be afraid of my boyfriend. I don't want you to either. If you were my daughter, I'd tell you to run for the hills. But I'm not your daughter, I reasoned. So what are you telling me? I'm telling you that I will be behind you, whatever you choose. You're a smart, determined girl. You will have a full and wonderful life whether or not he is in it, he said with a wrinkled smile. I was so thankful for him. This man had become my best friend, mentor, and savior in such a short amount of time. I wished I had met him sooner. I saw it in my mind's eye. 2 paths, one leading to Peter and one leading to the unknown. Both paths were beautiful and full of hope, but each tinged with pain and hardship. I had a choice.